Welcome to Mr. Giant Reacts a Ting, a Ting, a Ting. I'm Mr. Giant. We're back with another video for you. And we going back to Ireland. Yes, you know what I mean? And this one is called Life in Ireland 2024. Is it worth it? Don't do it without seeing this. Let's see what the vibe is and thing, you know what I mean? I would like to visit there, you know what I mean? Because I got my little island I want to go to and I want to relax and think. Speaking of which, I'm probably going to do a video on my island so y'all could see again where I might come from, what the vibe and thing is. I might react to some music from the island and thing. You understand what I mean? Now, let's go ahead on YouTube and simmer and see what they say in here.
Ireland has historically been a country with a significant immigration rate, but since the 1990s, it has experienced a notable shift towards immigration, so much so that according to the latest data published by the UN, it has 871,256 immigrants, which represents over 17% of Ireland's population.
Wow.
The country has a population of 5,194,336 inhabitants, spread across a total area of 70,280 square kilometers. The country, which has two official languages, English and Irish Gaelic, occupies 83.35% of the territory of the eponymous island, the second largest in the British Isles and the third largest in Europe. The remaining portion of the island is occupied by Northern Ireland, part of the United Kingdom. Immigration to Ireland, whose capital is Dublin and currency is the euro, mainly comes from the United Kingdom at 35.03%, Poland at 16.78%, and Lithuania at 5.08%. When compared to other countries, it ranks as the 32nd country in the world in terms of immigration percentage. What is the reason for this trend?
Okay.
Does it mean that it's worth immigrating and living in Ireland? Like all countries, living in Ireland has its pros and cons. That's why today we'll take you on an extraordinary walk, more extraordinary than usual, as we will show you the advantages and disadvantages of immigrating to Ireland.
Okay, if you're in Ireland, anywhere in the world, and you're watching this video, especially if you're in Ireland, comment down below and tell me if these pros and cons are right or wrong or over-exaggerated or under-exaggerated. Comment down below, let me know what the vibe is and thing. But I'm telling you, I'm seeing some really pretty scenery already, you know what I'm saying, and things, stuff that I would like to see myself. I mean, look at that. Ooh, that's just beautiful. That still frame on the screen right now, oh man, that's beautiful.
Let's start with the advantages. Good quality of life for its residents. According to the Central Statistics Office of Ireland, with a per capita income close to 100,000 euros, Ireland is theoretically one of the wealthiest countries in the world and formerly the second richest country in the European Union. This figure implies that its inhabitants enjoy a high standard of living. In fact, it ranks 5th in the GDP per capita ranking. Furthermore, the Human Development Index elaborated by the United Nations, which measures a country's progress, indicates that the Irish have a high quality of life. Business-friendly environment. For those with entrepreneurial aspirations, Ireland offers excellent support programs for entrepreneurs, making it an attractive option for those wanting to start their own businesses. If the reason for moving to Ireland is business-related, it's worth noting that Ireland ranks 24th out of the 190 countries in the Doing Business ranking, which evaluates countries based on the ease of doing business. For over 30 years, Ireland has been capitalizing on the circumstance that the United States allows its multinational corporations to locate their intellectual property in low-tax countries, facilitating the reduction of their taxable base and the diversion of taxation on profits to zero-tax havens. If you're enjoying our content, please give us a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Low level of corruption. Regarding the Corruption Perceptions Index of the public sector in Ireland, it has scored 77 points, indicating a low level of perceived governmental corruption among its residents. In its reports on Irish society, the Organization for Economic Cooperation attributes a high level of trust in its government and administration by its citizens. Low unemployment rate. Ireland has significantly reduced its
Okay, so this year is for 2024, and it's saying that there's very little corruption in the government. Now that's kind of interesting, because compared to everywhere else, it's just real crazy as far as I could tell. In my little island, we had our share of that, but now we have a new prime minister. I think it's what's his name? Good Lord, I forgot his name. But he's like 40-something years old, so he's bringing in a new breed of stuff, you know what I mean? And things I start to look up there. My brother is always like, yeah, you know, and my brother is older, and he's like all for this young dude leading the country. And you see pictures of him going, talking to the people, hanging out with the people in the villages, you know what I mean? Just paying attention, you know what I mean? And being transparent. So, you know, that's kind of cool. But I guess it just depends on what sector of society you live in, whether you want to know if that's true or not.
Its
Or believed
unemployment
to be.
rate due to economic growth and job creation in various sectors. In the first quarter of 2023, Ireland has an unemployment rate of 4.1%, with a total of 111,000 unemployed individuals, 63,000 women, and 48,000 men. In fact, only 13 countries in Europe achieve better figures. When walking through the streets of Irish cities, it's very common to see signs on the doors of establishments and businesses indicating that they are
Oh,
hiring.
wow.
The high salaries. Ireland ranks as the 5th country with the highest minimum wage in Europe, trailing behind the Netherlands, Belgium, Germany, and Luxembourg. The interprofessional minimum wage for 2023 in Ireland has been set at €1,909.70 per month, which translates to €22,916 per year, considering 12 monthly payments. This places Ireland above countries such as France, with a monthly minimum wage of €1,709.28, or Spain, with €1,260. Furthermore, the minimum wage increases annually. It has risen by €135.20 per month compared to the previous minimum wage, marking a 7.6% increase. However, this increase is lower than the 8.2% inflation rate of 2022, meaning that despite the raise, workers have experienced a decrease in purchasing power over the past year. It's worth noting that as of 2023, the average salary is €4,220 per month, which is more than double the minimum wage. Safety. Ireland ranks among the top 10 most peaceful countries in the world, specifically holding the 3rd position in the global peace ranking. As such, it can be considered a safe country. Its position has improved since 2021, when it ranked 8th. Ireland has earned a score of 1,288 on the Global Peace Index published by the Institute for Economics and Peace. As we can see, the Celtic nation boasts significant advantages that make it an appealing migration destination. However,
Does your policemen have guns? Because I know where I'm from on the island, they usually don't. The ordinary policemen, they used to have what we used to call back in our whole day bootoos, which is like the nightsticks. And they were sort of fashioned after like British Barbies or policemen. And so they never really had any weaponry on them at all. I hear recently they have pepper spray, but that's about it. Nobody's carrying guns or anything like that. We don't even have a military there as far as I know. We never had a military until the revolution. Then we had a People's Revolutionary Army. But I'm assuming it's sort of similar there, where most of the policemen don't really carry guns. Comment down below and let me know if that's the case.
what are its disadvantages? Does it truly hold value? Below, we will outline the most prominent drawbacks of the country, allowing you to form your own judgment. Housing and rental prices. The significantly high cost of housing is perhaps the most pressing issue faced by immigrants in this destination. The latest Residential Tenancy Board's rental index shows an annual increase in housing rents in Ireland of 8.3%, with an 11% increase in the Dublin metropolitan area, the city that receives the most immigrants. The average monthly rent for a one-bedroom apartment in Dublin is around 1,800 euros, while in other cities like Cork, prices can be lower with apartments of similar characteristics available for around 300 euros less.
Wow.
The truth is that rental prices have continued to rise since 2014, except for a pause experienced in 2020. Regarding property ownership, you should know that in Ireland, the average price per square meter is 3,837 euros for apartments and 2,947 euros for houses. Public debt.
You know, rent is high everywhere in this world, I think, especially if you're living in a big city. I live in a small city here, so the rent isn't as bad, even though the people here would tell you that it's really bad. But if you live in New York City, man, you get in a box up there and it's like 2,000 and change dollars to rent a box in New York. I lived in New York for like a year and a half, and the rent wasn't as high back then. It was going up. But now, man, you get in a box in Manhattan for way too much, you know. And even my buddy, he works in D.C. and he travels like 45 minutes to get to work. And it's really expensive to live in D.C., like Alexandria and Arlington and places like that, although Arlington is probably cheaper than Alexandria. But it's really expensive to live there. So a lot of people are living an hour outside the city and commuting an hour every day, 2 hours every day to and from. And that's not taking into consideration traffic, so that they could either have a house and live in the burbs or have cheaper rent and stuff so they could commute in. But even then, that's going to start going up when landowners realize that people are doing that. They're going to raise the rent anyway. So the high rent thing, that's everywhere in the world. That's just the way it is, you know what I mean?
In 2022, Ireland's public debt amounted to 224,755 million euros, with a debt-to-GDP ratio of 44.7%. The per capita debt is 43,269 euros per inhabitant, making its residents among the most indebted in the world. Healthcare system. Compared to other European Union countries, Ireland ranks poorly in OECD indicators, with subpar infrastructure and a non-universal social security system. This makes private health insurance and pension plans necessary for adequate medical care. GDP and GNI discrepancy. The gross domestic product, GDP, of nearly 550 billion euros in 2022 overestimates the material well-being of the Irish population. This is because it includes the activities of over 1,700 multinational corporations, half of which are American, with headquarters in Ireland. Despite contributing nearly 50% of the GDP, these corporations only employ around 275,000 people, which is roughly 11% of the workforce, and their impact on the real economy of the country is limited. 1/3 of these companies' investments are apparent and only pass through Ireland for tax purposes. The presence of these multinationals is crucial for the country's public finances, representing 82% of corporate tax revenue and 33% of income tax revenue. More than half of corporate tax revenues come from 10 companies, including Apple, Amazon, Google, Intel, Meta, and Pfizer. Corporate tax revenues have doubled in the last 3 years, reaching 22 billion euros. For these reasons, Irish authorities use indicators such as modified domestic demand or gross national income to assess the real economic evolution of the country. While in most European countries, GDP and gross national income values coincide, in Ireland, GNI currently represents 52% of GDP. Drug consumption issue in the capital. According to surveys conducted by the website Numbeo, visitors to the city of Dublin report that the issue of people consuming or trafficking drugs in the streets is significant. In fact, the Council of Ministers approved a new citizens' assembly on drug use in 2023 to address the significant harms associated with these substances. The practice of injecting drugs in public or semi-public places is something you can easily observe in the capital. In 2005, the Mayor's Commission on Crime and Policing highlighted the public perception of the problem, stating that it has become a distressing sight for members of the public who feel threatened by the evident drug abuse on the streets. This often leads to a perception of lawlessness. The reality is that this situation has worsened in recent years. In a public survey conducted by the Dublin City Council, antisocial behavior, including drug-related activities, was described as the worst aspect of Dublin. The climate in...
Okay, now the whole drug thing, that again is pretty much everywhere in the world, you know what I mean? And it's a sad state of affairs. Last week, where I work, somebody OD'd in the bathroom. You know what I mean? And you walk the streets and you're seeing the needles and stuff like that. Although I have never seen people actually do it themselves, you know what I mean? I've never really actually witnessed that, and I've never been around drugs. I pay close attention, and I exit the areas where that might possibly be happening, you know what I mean? But that's something that is it a referendum on the way the world is going? Is everybody trying to escape? Is that like mass escapism from reality that's happening? Because this thing is happening all over the world. You could go to Canada, you could go to Ireland, you could go to England, you could go to even some of the countries that are stricter on it, they still have that issue, you know what I mean? Africa, some parts of the Caribbean, you know what I mean? It's just everywhere. And I could never understand why anybody would want to do that to their body, you know? I want to enjoy life, you know? I want to be free, you know, and all of that, you know? So, I don't know. But that's a problem everywhere.
In Ireland is another factor that many immigrants complain about, as it tends to be cold, windy, and often characterized by cloudy skies, creating a sensation of perpetual darkness for most months of the year. Winter starts on December 1st and ends on February 28th. During this time, temperatures vary between 2 and 8 degrees Celsius, occasionally dropping to 0 degrees Celsius, with a much colder wind chill factor. As you've seen, Ireland offers a wide range of advantages that make it a worthy option for considering as a destination to live. What do you think? Are you ready to pack your bags?
You know, I was wondering why everybody that commented who lives in Ireland always said, come in the summer, come in the summer. Because like you said, it gets really cold there. Now, I have lived in the cold, you know what I mean? New York was pretty cold. Columbus, Ohio was really cold. I lived in Detroit, Michigan. That was really cold, right on around that river there. And so, yeah. I'm going to visit in the summer, and then slinker back to the island in the winter, because like it's like 30 degrees. I think it's Fahrenheit out there now, and it's freezing. I mean, my toes and my fingers are cold, I tell you. You know what I mean? Anyway, man, I hope you guys enjoyed that. If you guys enjoyed, drop a like on it, share the video. Leave some comments in the comment section. Tells me if you're an Irish person living in Ireland and watching this video, what are your experiences there? Also, when I watch things like that, I'm not taking sides. I'm just trying to learn. I'm not casting judgment. I'm just trying to learn, because regardless to what's going on, I might go and visit regardless. You know what I mean? Just want to get to know people, talk to people, spread a little love, you know what I mean, and thing. That's the vibe that I'm on to, you know what I mean? But I hope you guys enjoyed this with me. You know, tell your friends about Mr. Giantdread acting and thing, you know what I mean? With a little bit of philosophy, a little bit of culture, of his own little philosophy on the world and thing, how we should love each other and find out about each other. So when they tell us that person is bad, we go, oh, wait a minute, that's my brother in Ireland, that's my brother in Africa, that's my brother in the Caribbean, that's my brother in America. You understand what I'm saying, thing? In the meantime, you all take care of each other, all right? Cool runnings.